Hello, and welcome back to another Minecraft Let's Play video with me, Elven Dragon. So last episode we went and decorated our gold farm, putting in an island underneath to hide the catch tray, and decorating the portal with a couple of gold trees. And since then, we haven't really done much with decorating the island. We put in a few torches to try and keep the mobs from spawning on top. We haven't even filled in the underside yet, so that's still full of torches because we were working on stuff around here and then we kind of ran into a creeper. Fortunately, nothing blew up, so that was fine. But since then, we have been working on digging out the redstone pit a little bit more because, again, I want this thing quite a bit farther down. So we've gotten stairs there so we can bring this most of the half to layer 0 to start with. We're going to bring everything down to that layer to start with, and then we can start going down with all the deep slate, because that is going to be a lot of fun. Not looking forward to that at all. But no matter, we still need to decorate this island, which, as much as I would like to do that now, we are going to hold off on that for another time, I think. We still have the gold trees to do. Still need to figure out the flowers that we want to put on here. And, well, in order to keep digging this thing down, we have a couple of little farms that we put temporarily on the ground, just to give them some place to go while we really needed them. One of which was a microcrop farm, and the other one is a pink petal farm. And, well, in order to keep digging down, we are going to have to move those. So, I have an idea of where I want to put the pink petal farm, and I think that's going to be up with the rest of the flower islands. And the microcrop farm, though, not quite sure. Maybe we'll put it over with the melon and pumpkin farm. I think that'd probably be a good place to put it. Put all the crops together. Speaking of which, we do need to get an island on that crop farm. It'd be too hard. We'll just build an island around it. Maybe hide that thing in a bit of a hollow hill sort of thing. Not quite sure. I am liking the idea of decorating the islands with something that signifies the island. So we're going to have to figure out what to do for that. But I've already taken out the microcrop farm. We just need to go and build up an island for that. Hopefully this exchange shouldn't be too hard. These are really small farms, and I think the biggest thing is going to be the dispenser to send everything to the storage system. So I'm going to go pick out a spot in the sky here to put this thing. Hopefully not too close to the melon and pumpkin farm. And then I'll be right back. Alright, so a little bit of planning later, and we've got a spot marked out for our pink petal farm once we end up moving that. Decided I wanted it about halfway between our tallest flower farm and the one island for the bee farms. And the scaffolding pillar we're on now is for our crop farm. So this right here is the height that I think that our melon and pumpkin farm island is going to be at, or at least the grass part of it anyway. So we've got a bit of a gap here. I'm thinking we're going to have one island in between. So we want that to go down one block, and then another one will get us the height for our island here. So if we do this, this is going to be the edge of the island. Don't quite know where we're going to stick this up. So we need at least one block on the outside here for what we want to do. So if we go and stick one of our dispensers there, that'll be where our dispensers are going to go. Actually, we should probably do that one block up. And instead, do that for our grass. We need a block here to keep the water in, which we definitely need that. That'll keep the farmland hydrated. And then we can just kind of go and put dispensers around this thing. Now, the tricky bit is figuring out how we're going to do the redstone for this. I don't want this to be too big. Other issue is that since this is right on top of the island, although one of these we don't have to get anything on top of. That'll be this one here, which we need a bucket of water for. These three, though, we need to figure out how we're going to fill those. Probably hoppers, so we can just toss bone meal on top. Which means we need to figure out how we're doing our redstone for this. So if we do that, that should allow us to trigger that dispenser. Just need something that's going to trigger all of these. Now we could Set this to all go into a block. Do something like that. Farm's obviously going to be a little off center within the area, but that'll be fine. It shouldn't be too difficult. So if we want these to go into blocks, we're going to need repeaters on each side and definitely more space on this island. So if we do that, that needs to come up and around from there. So we need that one to be off by a tick. So let's put in a repeater there and set that off. That one goes there. Bring our lines up and around here to get those all connected in. And we should probably test this to make sure that this works before we go much further with this. So let's get our dirt blocks in on the sides and then apparently fall off the island before we can get the other one in and put in our observer clock in a temporary spot. So if we do something so we can observe that one. Wait, these don't pulse as soon as they're placed anymore. We'll have to place both of them down to test this with, which is good. We can test this at full speed. And that looks like it works. I'll have to get some bone meal and some seeds to test this with. That should be working. Now, for dispensing stuff off of this, that is actually going to be the easy part. Because since we need to be standing in the farm here, which is going to make this a lot of moss. Oh, it'll be fine. Although I wonder if we can just cut out the repeaters on the one side. Might make things run a little bit smoother. Okay, we need one for this. But if we put our reservoirs down below and put that into a block, that'll work. Instead of doing it like this, we need a bit of stone. We put that down below. And then we can build our observer clock off of that. So we want an observer facing up on that block. Probably have something to shut this off so that the observers aren't ticking the entire time. But if we do that, stick that into a block, that should trigger all of these. And we need some sort of on-off switch here to trigger all of these so this turns off. Because I do not want these clicking all the time. But I think that'll work. That also dramatically reduces the amount of blocks that we need, so we can just do stuff like this. Put this going up a little bit more in the middle here, something like this. Then we just need a carpet on these 2 or 3 blocks there so that we can actually get into the farm and use it. And the only other thing would be a hopper system so that we can just send stuff down. But if it's going to be in our inventory anyway, we should just be able to toss it right into the storage system from there. All right, looks like I got a bit of an island to decorate here. All right, so a little bit of work later, and we now have an island around our little mini crop farm. I haven't tested to see if this thing actually properly works, but we have a lever here temporarily because I don't think I can really get a small little thing to work with a button for this. So that just turns this on. We can plant our stuff in there and go from there. And this should work quite well for what we want. And right now, all we have to do is just flip the lever to turn the farm on and off. And we also went and did a little bit of work with our little flower farm island. We did get that moved all the way up. It's got its own dispenser in there for easy dispensing. Not quite fully done. We have to play around with a few of the bits of the island there and get the top of this thing in. It's very, very flat on the one side, but it's got the farm inside. We just have to play around with that. That is probably one of the easier things to do. That said, we do have like 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we have a lot of islands that we need to finish up here. But getting these in has made me think a little bit more. I think flower-wise, unless we suddenly discover a new one, that is probably going to be it for flower farms. So I am liking this idea that we have here where we're keeping similar farms together. So our flower farms are going to be over here. We have our nether fungi farm up there that gives us the warped roots, crimson roots, etc. And I suppose that technically kind of fits in here. Maybe we'll put in a regular mushroom farm. Maybe we'll just put something in there to grow large mushrooms, although technically we could do that down at the tree farm, although we'd have to change out all that dirt for podzol, which might actually be a good idea because we can grow trees on podzol, we can grow mushrooms on podzol. Might be worth it looking at switching those alpha pods on, then we don't really have to make a mushroom farm. I do have an automated mushroom farm, but it is extremely slow. And with all the time that we spend over here, we might get 1 or 2 mushrooms from it total. So we'll pass on making the automated mushroom farm. Now, though, putting in the mini crop farm up in the sky now, let me think about some of the other kind of similar farms that kind of go with it, which would be some cocoa beans, because we have to manually replant those, and glow lichen. So I'm thinking we might go and fit some of those around here as well. We also have to figure out pathing. I'm thinking a path in the snow farm to the gold farm probably to the flower farms, something like that. We have to figure out all the pathing, and trying to work with this in a 3-dimensional space is not exactly easy. But I think a little glow lichen and a cocoa bean farm should be pretty simple and quick to do. So I'm gonna go see where we can stick those, probably somewhere in this area. Probably not over the slime chunks, although we could probably be safe if we just build those above Y40. Anyway, we got a couple farms to place, and islands to build, and tons of them to decorate. Alright, so a couple of little quick island scaffolds later, and we now have a couple islands here, one for our cocoa bean farm and the other one for the glow lichen farm. You can see the glow lichen farm one is a lot smaller and a lot less developed, and that's because the farm itself is going to be really, really simple, and we don't need as complicated of a mechanism as we're going to need for the cocoa bean farm, which we need to get our dispensers in here. 3 of these are going to have bone meal. I think a water bucket should break the cocoa bean. I think. I've never actually built one of these before. Should probably actually test this before we build it, but where's the fun in that? So down below, we need to make sure we have our clock. We need to make sure we have some redstone lines going into our dispensers there. And I'm thinking we might be able to get this to work if we just put everything into the one central dirt block and see how that goes. All right, so with each of these set up with a different item, turn that on, and we're getting all 4 triggering right now. Okay, we need to slow one of these down. Going to require a repeater. Fortunately, if we put it into that block, it's not going to work. So we basically need to get a redstone line going off of the back observer. All right, so a lot more fiddling, finagling, and redstone shenanigery later, and I think this works. So if we flip that on, hey, that works. Just bone meal cocoa beans and get more of them. Obviously, it's going to take a little bit, but there we go. We just turned 1 into 21, so that's good. Now so it's just with 10 pieces of bone meal in each dispenser. So we don't have to decorate this. Probably we'll put in a custom jungle tree or something over there. No clue. But as for our little glow lichen farm, over here, this should literally just be a single dispenser right out here. Put our glow lichen on top of that. I'm putting grass all around this just because I don't want this to accidentally get the moss broken. And I think when we have shears, the grass will take a lot longer to break. So that should just be able to go right there. And we should be able to put the observer clock right next to the dispenser and the piston right next to that. And just like that, that's it. We just need the lever to activate the piston to shut off the clock. But in theory, that should be it. You might want to put in a little bit of a hopper system just to make it very easy to put in a bit of bone meal into here. But if you do that, that should grow that all around there. Oh, that's nice. It'll even grow up around there too. But as we just break that, probably even have this just flush with the island, but I do kind of like the center thing there. Plus, if we break this, we can get 5 pieces as well. So I'm quite happy with that. We just need to get the island in and get these all decorated up. But I'll just get that done on my own because I'm thinking that for now, that is probably going to be it for today. We've gotten 2 new farms in did say we wanted to get the other farms decorated before we get these in, but you know what? These just fit with what we were working on over here. We do need to get some paths between them. I don't know if there's any other micro farms that we can really do. I have to look through our stuff for farming around here. But with that, I want to thank you all so much for watching. I know all we did was just made 4 small little farms, but it's 4 more little farms that really starting to help bring this area together. We're starting to get little island chains. Now, granted, they're all kind of very similar because we're doing the same pattern, sort of mix across all of them. We should get some lights up here too, but no matter. I am liking how the archipelagos are coming together. But again, I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing if you want to see more of what is going on in this area and in the rest of this world. And I'll catch you all next time. Goodbye.